everyone, welcome to Vidikya Explained, the Hindu newspaper analysis. Today's session will have following segment. First, overview of today's newspaper. Second, must-know topics and explanation. And segment 3, quiz time with 5 important questions. So in today's newspaper, following are the important topics. First, India non-committal on funding curbs on UK NGOs. DDA's land pooling policy seemed to have hit a dead end. Kovind unveils God Ramanujarya statue. For something, the COD remains a group of friends who share many things but not a common enemy. A dipping graph in occupational safety and health, the era of combative federalism, India's semiconductor dream, center readies for LIC listing to offload 5% stake in insurer, India non-committal on curbs on UK NGOs. So these are the important topics from today's newspaper. The first article we'll be discussing is a dipping graph in occupational safety and health. So it is a fact that while industrial accidents occur often, only major accidents. So it says that only major accidents, say that too in construction or in hazardous industry, are recorded. However, occupational safety and health has not received due attention from lawmakers and even trade unions in India. OSH, occupational safety and health, is an existential human and labor right. There are two primary requirements. There are two primary requirements to ensure safe workplace, that are strong monitoring and comprehensive database. So major accidents only in recorded only in construction and hazardous industry, and rest are ignored. So there are two primary requirements to ensure safe workplace. Two requirements. One is monitoring. Strong monitoring is required in all the sector. Strong monitoring. And the another is database, because without database we don't know how much events accidents are taking place and what steps need to be taken. So database and monitoring is important to ensure safety and health. So there are shortcomings. So statistics concerning industrial accident are published by Labor Bureau. So it is published by Labor Bureau. It compiles and publishes data on industrial injuries relating to only a few sectors: factories, mines, railways, docks, and ports. Labor Bureau has not considered expanding the scope of statistics on injury by adding sector such as plantation, construction, service sector. So one shortcoming is that the sectors are not expanded for study, for collecting data. Even the data it produces is not representative of the situation in India, as several major states default in the provision of data to the Labor Bureau. So states do not provide data to Labor Bureau. It is not surprising that the number of non-fatal injuries declined from an average 21,370 during 2010 and 15 to 5,000 because of non-submission of data by state government. The number of non-fatal injuries have declined, but this is not true, because it is not declined. It is declined because the data is not properly collected and processed. So however, it may be added that the drop is far higher in case of non-fatal injuries than the fatal one. So drop more in non-fatal than in fatal one. The data sent by states to the Labor Bureau suffer from underreporting, as I've told you. So underreporting, as is well known, underreporting is more likely to be in case of non-fatal injuries than the fatal ones for obvious reason. So underreporting more in non-fatal than fatal. According to DGFALSI standard reference note for 2020 and 2019, the proportion of working in sanctioned posts for the factory inspector for India was 70.60%. So factory inspector only 70.60%. So there is shortage also for inspector, shortage of inspector for inspection. Shortage is also an issue. So the proportion of registered factories inspected. So the proportion of registered factories inspected for all India declined from 36.23 during 2008-11 to 34.6. So the proportion of registered factory which has been inspected is also declining. Declining because there is shortage of inspector. Shortage of inspector. This shortage of inspectors. The factory inspectors were inadequately equipped, and worse, the inspection rates fell in almost. And even when even when we have inspectors, they are poorly equipped and not well trained. So this is also an issue. Now, given the above statistical fact, two major issues are pertinent to legal and labor policy. So two major issues are pertinent to legal and labor policy. First, mindless liberalization of the inspection system as has been affected during the last 20 years will not promote sound labor market governance. So post 1990s, following LPG policy, that liberalization, privatization and governance. So post this, because of LPG, there is a huge privatization, but this privatization will not itself bring educate legal and labor policy. And second issue is simplifying the annual returns and self-certification system weakens the already poorly placed liberal statistical system regarding all variables, especially industrial injury. So first there is liberalization and liberalization is happening, and second self-certification. So these are two pertinent issues in labor, in occupational, occupational and health safety. Thanks to low reporting by firms to state labor department and the later to labor bureau. So because of self-certification, because of the poor policies, there is already less data is provided to state government, and state government provide that data to central government labor bureau. So overall the data that comes is very less and not adequately recorded. India has ratified International Labour Organization ILO conventions. The Labor Inspection Commission India has ratified ILO Convention 81 and 160, and this the whole data and the non-committed data and the lack of data and lack of inspectors not proper checking and this self-certification system is violation of the ILO Convention 81 and 160. So overall this article says that first of all, the labor bureau is only restricted to few sectors and all other sectors are not expanded for counting the data with regard to non-fatal and fatal injuries numbered. And then article says because of the liberalization and self-certification system, the data which is coming to state government is less, and that less data is going to labor bureau. And because of the limited data, because of the less data, the real picture is not coming to the central government. And because of the lack of the real picture, the policies and the laws that are being framed are not adequate to deal with the situation of occupational health and safety. Now, the second topic we will be talking about is the era of combative federalism. So federalism, what is federalism? Federalism is a form of government in which the power is divided between the national government and other smaller unit governments, so such as national government and state government. National government and state government. And this power is divided by the division of power is there in the constitution also. So what are the recent issues? Why this topic is in news? Because recently the government of India released the IS cadre rule. The proposed amendment to IS cadre rules of 1945 have triggered another round of conflict between the center and the state. The amendment proposed by Department of Personnel and Training. So you have to remember that the amendment in the IS cadre rule proposed by Department of Personnel and Training, Government of India. So DOPT released amendment. So you have to remember this for your CLAT examination, that which organization or which institution released the amendment to the IS cadre rule. So it's a DOPT, Department of Personnel and Training. And this will take away the liberty of the states to deny consent for handing over civil governments for central deputation. So for the working of central government, the IAS, IPS officers are deputed from state cadre to the central government. However, earlier the situation was that if state government does not consent, then that IAS, IPS officer does not go to the central government. However, with the recent amendment, the proposed amendment, this power from state government will be taken. And it says further, if there are differences between the center and state, the center decision will have to be accepted by the state within a specialized time. So in case there is a conflict between center and state, so the will of center will prevail, and state will have to send the officer to the central government for the deputation. The shift of Indian federalism from cooperative to combative has been one of the major changes in Indian politics since Narendra Modi-led government assumed power at the center with brute majority. So there is a combative federalism and cooperative federalism. In combative federalism, there is a dispute that central and state government are at dispute with each other on various issues. And in cooperative federalism, center and state government or state government cooperate with each other for the smooth functioning of government. So this is the difference between combative federalism and cooperative federalism. For example, in combative federalism, the two state governments, for the example of combative federalism is IS cadre rule, the proposed IS cadre rule, and cooperative federalism is center, like for example, center releases a scheme such as Swachh Bharat Abhiyan, and the state government also comes up with like policies and regulation in that scheme so that it complements the central government's Swachh Bharat Abhiyan policy. This is an example of cooperative federalism. So examples of combative federalism. In the recent years, in the few years, there has been dispute between central and state government, and which can be seen from Rajasthan Assembly session. So the power to conduct the power to hold the assembly session lies with the cabinet, cabinet, or you can say council of ministers. However, in Rajasthan, when the council of ministers asked the governor to convene the session of assembly, the Rajasthan governor denied and did not give the permission to conduct the session. And the other example is Tamil Nadu NEET bill. So the government of Tamil Nadu passed the bill, but it has been pending before the governor, and the governor is not giving the assent or passing it to the president. And other is Maharashtra forming government without majority. In Maharashtra, the governor has tried to invite the party to form the government without ascertaining the majority, there is no majority. West Bengal issue, like last year when the chief secretary of West Bengal did not report on time. So the central government has asked that officer to come to the central government, but West Bengal government has been denied. So there has been conflict going on between the governor of West Bengal and the West Bengal government. NCT Delhi issue, there is also conflict between the lieutenant governor of the Delhi and the government of the Delhi led by Arvind Kejriwal. So there is a continuous dispute going on between the central government and the state government. And this is creating problem in the smooth functioning of the state and central government. The Constitution Bench of the Supreme Court held that the power of the Lieutenant Governor of Delhi to differ from Delhi government and make reference to the president is only with respect to exceptional matter like land, police, and public order. Supreme Court has said that the Lieutenant Governor can differ from state government only in matters of land, police, and public order. However, the Supreme Court had to again remind the Delhi government and the center in Ajit Mohan versus Legislative Assembly, NCT Delhi, and others 2021. For the system to work well, the central government and the state government have to walk hand in hand, or at least walk side by side for better governance. So Supreme Court in 21 said that state government and central government or representative of central government such as governor or lieutenant governor have to work in tandem or have to walk at least side by side so as to maintain the smooth functioning of government. Because of this combative federalism, there is a policy paralysis. The schemes are not well implemented, and at last, and the impact is being seen by the public because of the lack of implementation and policy. There is a dispute going on between central and state government. The public suffers. Combative federalism is anathema to the constitution, which prescribed cooperation and collaboration between center. The constitution also prescribes constitution talks about cooperative federalism for better functioning of government. Better functioning of governments. The Constitution bench of Supreme Court held in governance of NCT of Delhi versus Union of India. That idea behind the concept of collaborative federalism is negotiation. That it is based on negotiation and coordination, so that differences which may arise between the center and state government in their respective pursuit of development can be ironed out. So in cooperative federalism, there is negotiation, collaboration between state and center. So this is what constitution also prescribes, that government needs to follow the cooperative federalism so that there is no policy paralysis, there is better governance, and the service delivery to the citizens is better. So this is the whole article that it talks about. The article talks about various disputes between central and state government, for example, Rajasthan, Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu, and what is comparative federalism, what is cooperative federalism, what the Supreme Court has talked about, how the government should work, that they should work in hand with hand, and at least they should walk side by side so that there is no policy paralysis. And in cooperative federalism, there is scope of negotiation and collaboration. And with the negotiation and collaboration, the disputes can be resolved and the better functioning takes place. The encroachment by either of the constituent union, so both the constituent union, the center and state, have provided their area of functioning, and also their limitations by Constitution of India. Rather than wasting time and energy in unnecessarily conflict, the center and state have to strive to work in coordination in best interest of people. So in the best interest of people, cooperative federalism is required and not combative. So you need to know what is cooperative federalism, what is combative federalism. Some examples such as Rajasthan, Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu. You have to remember this example. Delhi government case. That's it. Now the next article is India's semiconductor dream. So semiconductor is very important. Semiconductor is very important for the fourth industrial revolution, where is everything is going on, Internet of Things, AI, artificial intelligence, machine learning. So for this, semiconductor becomes an important factor. Semiconductor provide all this technology in the functioning of automobile sector, mobile, laptop, chips are being used in different sectors. So this is a major concern these days. Because of the COVID-19 pandemic, the supply chain has taken a hit. So pandemic brought the fragility of global supply chain. The situation is also exacerbated by the over dependence of the world on East Asia for fab manufacturing, the rising price of silicon, and the China-US trade war. So the manufacturing of this semiconductor is mostly concentrated in the East Asian countries such as Taiwan. And there is a trade war happening between China and USA. So every country is trying to reduce their dependency on these countries for semiconductor and are looking for the domestic production of semiconductor. So in this the US has announced a $50 billion package to create foundries there. So US has announced $50 billion for semiconductor manufacturing. TSMC and UMC, these two are the leading firms for the manufacturing of semiconductor. TSMC controls 24% of the semiconductor supply chain, and TSMC is also setting up a $12 billion facility in Arizona, USA. So you have to remember two companies which are leading the semiconductor industry: TSMC, MSC, and UMSC. And East Asian region, important for semiconductor industry. Because of the every country knows the importance of the semiconductor and knows that they are dependent on other countries for their supply. So every government wants to trying to reduce their supply. Therefore, on time, the India has also approved 10 billion package to incentivize the manufacturing of semiconductors in the country. So India has announced $10 billion package for manufacturing of semiconductor in India. The government has drawn out a list of incentive to get leading international manufacturer. The government is, by giving incentive, trying to incentivize international manufacturer to set up their manufacturing industry in India, either by themselves or with the help of local partner. So incentives are given like tax rebates, providing infra, power, and other things. Considering the current geopolitical dynamics and the fact that semiconductors are at the core of fourth industrial revolution technology, this is a welcome first step. So looking at the importance of the semiconductors, and in the wake of fourth industrial revolution, India has also launched a $10 billion package for manufacturing of semiconductor in India. We have the largest number of chip designers outside of the USA who are working on the state-of-the-art system and technology. For example, Karnataka boasts of over 85 fabulous chip design houses of various global companies. So we have this, we have this infrastructure. We have the people and technology working on semiconductor industry in India. The total demand for semiconductors stands at 12 billion. Currently, semiconductor $24 billion industry. And this is expected to grow to $80 to $90 billion by 2030. 2030, semiconductor industry's demand will grow to $80 to $90 billion. So this is the importance of semiconductor because of the industrial revolution. And so because of the rise of fourth industrial revolution, and because of the importance of semiconductor in fourth industrial revolution, the industry will rise from $24 billion to $80 to $90 billion by just 2030. So looking at this, every country is coming up with their new plans. They are trying to incentivize the companies to set up their manufacturing industries in those countries and produce the semiconductor chips. Work needs to be done to develop raw material supply chain. Raw material is also needed. Raw material. So supply chain of raw material is important. Supply chain. So that raw material comes easily without any disruption, so that the manufacturing can take place easily. Fab clustering, where semiconductor supply chains and related business are in one place to create backward and forward link. So we have to develop infrastructure where there is a forward linkage, there is a backward linkage. For example, from here the raw material comes, here production takes place, and here the business takes place, that is supplied to the industry, supplied to the automobile sector or whichever sector needs it. So we need to create an ecosystem where there is a constant flow of raw material without any disruption. There is a constant manufacturing without any disruption, and then it passes to the industry which requires it. So this will also create demand in the sector from which raw material is coming. So this is backward linkage. Backward linkage is, so it will provide employment to raw material industry, and employment in the manufacturing unit, and because of availability of semiconductor, it will generate more employment in other industries. So it needs to ensure high quality infrastructure, such as power, road, and like different types of transportation, air, water, land. So all this is required to ensure that there is no disruption in the supply chain. Along with uninterrupted power availability, more than 99.7% uptime connected to two different grids to ensure redundancy. So this highlights the importance of the power sector, importance of power in the semiconductor manufacturing. Now, additionally, a conducive environment needs to be created for women to work night shift along with zero labor dispute. So an environment is required where women can also work in the night shift. Women can also work in night shifts. So we have to implement policies such as POSH, prevention of sexual harassment at workplace, and there is strict monitoring, and like public policing system has to be improved so that there is no security threat to the woman. The working condition during the night is also to be improved. So because of it will create employment, and it will also empower the women to take part in the manufacturing sector, encouraging Indian manufacturers and startup to enter and master complex R&D. So it is important that we need to increase our budget in R&D sector. R&D. Currently our budget is less than 1% in R&D. So to start more R&D, to push people for more R&D, to push industries for more research and development, first we need to ensure that our budget is adequate. So we need to increase the budget. We can then ensure that valuable IPR is created and owned by Indian companies. First, R&D needs to be pushed. Good IPR system, good IPR regime is required so that patents can be granted easily. By working aggressively in new cutting edge technologies, India can ensure that it becomes Atmanirbhar. So India also wants to reduce its dependency on other countries for their semiconductor manufacturing, for importing semiconductor. So in order to become an Atmanirbhar, India has to ensure R&D, India has to ensure better infrastructure, better working condition for women in nights, and there is a supply chain. India needs to provide better transport, better power to the semiconductor industry. In order to incentivize the companies to come and manufacture in India, India has launched 10 billion package. India is providing incentives such as tax rebates and providing them the infrastructure so that India can become Atmanirbhar in the semiconductor industry. Now the next article is for something. The Quad remains a group of friends, share different things but not a common enemy. So we have discussed Quad members. Quad members are India, US, Japan, and Australia. So these are 4 countries in the Quad. The Quad ministerial meeting in Melbourne, meant to set the stage for a meeting by leader of Australia, India, Japan, and USA later this year in Tokyo, ended with outcome that showcased its positive agenda. So this year meeting took place in Melbourne, and next meeting will take place in Tokyo. So you have to remember this. If the question can come in the exam in where this meeting took place. So Melbourne, and next meeting will take place in Tokyo in Japan. So in this, we will discuss the outcomes. So the outcomes are from plans to deliver more than 1 billion vaccine doses. India made, we have discussed that which vaccine will be developed is Corbevax. Corbevax by Biological E, Hyderabad facility. With US will fund and distribute it through Japanese and Australian networks and donate another 1.3 billion doses around the world. And second outcome, to prepare for an Indo-Pacific Clean Energy Supply Chain Forum. So they are also planning to come up with a clean energy supply chain forum for the Indo-Pacific region to tackle climate change. Another outcome is to further a Quad vision for technology governance and safe and transparent 5G system. They are also cooperating on 5G technology, and to launch humanitarian assistance. So you have to remember 5G technology, humanitarian assistance, and then vaccines, climate change. So these are some of the areas of discussion in the recent Quad meeting to support regional countries' efforts. So this is all being done like climate change to support in countries along in the Indo-Pacific regions, and then vaccines, technology, and after that we have one more thing, that is humanitarian assistance. Humanitarian assistance. So why humanitarian assistance? Because the Indo-Pacific, because of the global warming, the small island countries in the Indo-Pacific regions are facing sea levels, rise in sea level challenges. So because of this, there is a humanitarian crisis in these regions. So these countries are collaborating to provide humanitarian assistance to countries in the South Pacific, in the Indo-Pacific region. So Indo-Pacific region. So this is somewhere your Africa. So this region from here, this Indian Ocean region till this is China, and this whole region till Central Asian region. This whole region from India, from Indian Ocean to Central Pacific region is known as Indo-Pacific region. Indo-Pacific region. So important initiatives in this region is AUKUS. We have talked about it. Australia, US, and UK. Quad, India, Australia, US, Japan. Then we have talked about Malabar exercise in last class. Malabar exercise between these four countries. Malabar started in 1992 with India and USA only participant. In 2021, Australia also participated for the first time in Malabar exercise. Malabar. And Malabar is a naval exercise. Naval exercise. So this is all for today's discussion. So first question is, in which city meeting of ministers of Quad members took place recently? Your options are Melbourne, Tokyo, New Delhi, and New York. And the correct option is Melbourne. So next meeting will take place in Tokyo. Next meeting in Tokyo. Quad members, you know, Australia, India, US, Japan. Malabar exercise, you also know, Malabar naval exercise. So the topic related to Quad is coming in newspaper every day. So this topic is very much important. Therefore, you have to remember almost everything about this topic: membership, exercise, initiatives, and like vaccination, which vaccines to be supplied, which country will produce the vaccine. The next question is, the demand for of semiconductor is expected to grow to 80 to 90 billion by which year? Your options are 2025, 2027, 2028, 2030. The correct answer is option D, 2030. And why there is a rise of, why there is increased demand of semiconductor? Because of fourth industrial revolution led by artificial intelligence, Internet of Things, machine learning. Now the third question is, India has announced of fill in the blanks package for semiconductor industry under Atmanirbhar Abhiyan, fill in the blank. So India has announced how much for the package for the semiconductor industry under Atmanirbhar Abhiyan. Your options are 10 billion, 20 billion, 30 billion, 40 billion. The correct option is 10 billion. US has launched a program of $50 billion. India, $10 billion to reduce dependence on imports and become self-reliant. Next Quad meeting will take place in which city? Your options are New Delhi, Tokyo, New York, Canberra. The correct option is Tokyo. Statistics concerning industrial accidents are produced by which organization? Your options are Labor Bureau, Central Statistics Organization, Ministry of Home Affairs, and National Statistics Organization. And the correct option is Labor Bureau. So that's all for today's quiz. Stay logical with Vidya, your best pal in CLAT preps. Thank you.